The following game has been rated E for everyone by the ESRB, and it has no listed restrictions. That means that the content in the game should be appropriate for anyone aged 6 and up. Furthermore, this game is also listed as Early Access. That means that this game is not yet completed, so what you will see in the following video may not be reflective of the final product. You have been warned. Greetings and salutations. I am Outlier, and I bid you welcome to this channel. Joining me today is, of course, my usual co-hosts, Snowball and Wolf. And today we're returning back to Hardspace Shipbreaker. Well, okay, yeah, that's mainly the reason. So the premise of Hardspace Shipbreaker is that you are an orbital salvage engineer, cutting apart derelict ships to salvage for all the various components and to melt down what can't be salvaged into sellable scrap. All to pay your corporate overlords the money back for getting you up into orbit and doing their job for them. Yes, one could argue that it is a racket. However, there are some perks. You really can't beat the view for one. Uh, you get to deal with some very interesting and usually highly explosive materials. You also get to play with some toys not normally found, I guess, on the surface of the planet. But all that comes at a cost of a tune of 1 billion credits, which the corporate overlords foisted upon you as payment for getting you up into space, as I said before. And you basically have to work your butt off getting enough money to pay off said loan. Thankfully, the interest is rather low, but they do nickel and dime you in terms of equipment, which you can eventually buy, but until then, you're basically renting. Not to mention the place where you're living. All provided to you by the corporate overlords. Yes, I know, racket. We're talking in circles. This game is, of course, made by Thank you again. That being said, let us begin. Alright, so if anybody's seen the prior episodes, you know what this screen is. This is the basic screen. This is our habitation module, which we rent from the corporate overlords. The debt currently stands at 905,760,112 credits that I have to still pay back. I do have 403 links points, which are used to upgrade and buy all my equipment. All the upgrades left for the cutter. I don't have the level to actually acquire yet, whereas I do have a few extra tidbits for the grapple, but they all cost a ridiculous amount of links points. Same with the few things left from the thrusters. I did buy everything for the cross-spectrum scanner, and everything I have available for the helmet. I do still have a few things for the work suit. I can even purchase the spacesuit, but I still need a ridiculously large amount of links points in order to actually not rent it. So that's all the equipment. I have been playing in between episodes, hence why some things are, some upgrades are now purchased as opposed to others. Also, my equipment's in relatively good shape. You know me, I don't bother to repair things unless it's under 50%. Between last time and now, I did decrypt all the random bits of data that I happen to have. I just basically wanted to know what all the ghost ships are talking about. It's basically ship travels to unknown location. They receive some strange warnings, and then everybody disappears. Also, we do have a bunch of mail, basically some extra things, and apparently somebody at corporate's trying to figure a way to make money off of the AI nodes. So someone at corporate's trying to play with the avatars of an unfriendly god for a profit. That's going to work out so well for the angry god, probably. But that's neither here nor there. So certifications, I'm already at 8. I think I've been at 8 for a while. So let's start the shift. You've no doubt seen me take apart mackerel after mackerel after mackerel. I did deal with a ghost gecko. Was not fun, mainly because the AI node started messing with the ship, and it caused me, well, issues. More from the fact that it kept flooding areas open to vacuum with atmosphere. The frames started moving, and somehow they managed to hack my suit's thrusters, which I was not a fan of. So one thought that I had was to try to salvage a gecko in under 2 hours. We are not dealing with the ghost gecko. Another thought that I had was to see if I can tear apart a cargo gecko, but it looks like the only cargo gecko available is a very hard class 6 grade vessel. Given the fact that the class 6s are still only around 14 million, class 5s are basically around that, a million shy or less, and whereas the class 4s are, yeah, this station hopper gecko is also at 14 million in terms of total estimated salvage. So there's no real financial benefit to salvaging a class 6 ship when a class 4 ship, which is easier, nets me just shy of the exact same amount of coin. And when we're dealing with 14 million, 13 million and change of to be taken off the debts, a million here or there just basically means I salvage one extra ship further down the line. So let us salvage the Queen of Yuan. It's a station hopper gecko. I've taken apart plenty of these, so I know the basics of it. And let's hit the right button so I can salvage it. And let's see if I can take this thing apart in under 2 hours. maybe. An hour and a half. So we just hurl ourselves at the ship. Try to look at our work order. So we need to salvage a Class 2 reactor, salvage 2 of the 3 Class 2 thrusters, salvage 20 units of electrical, salvage 7 units of storage, salvage just over... It's either 20,000, 28,000 kilograms of nanocarbon, salvage 7.3 thousand and change units of metal, and salvage 22 computer terminals. So clearly, they do not consider the computer terminals to be electrical. The first thing we're going to salvage is this sensor tower. Because as I've said before, and will say countless times again and again and again, I like working outside then in, and forward then back. So we basically rip everything we can right off the outside of the ship. And once I'm fairly certain that everything on the outside of the ship is taken care of, we move in and start tearing the ship apart from the front to the back. So generally with the geckos, the sensor tower, if there is one or more of them, is usually the only thing that you can take off. You still gotta get inside in order to cut off the nacelles. And much like the antennas off the mackerel, that's really about it. So let's climb in through the airlock. And that should probably kind of sort-of-ish almost worry me, the fact that I don't have to repressurize the airlock in order to get into the main cabin. But let's repressurize this cabin.
Air pressure level increasing.
Alright, so we got plenty of O2 in here. Is this area pressurized? I honestly can't tell. Well, one way to find out. Depressurize the ship yet again. Door opens, the door opens.
Air pressure level decreasing.
Door opens, so that means that it is not pressurized, although it does mean that this cabin probably is. Yeah, it does. I am seeing the word danger on there. I think when it's flagged green, that means the area is pressurized. So we are going to have to worry about that room. Since there's no internal atmospheric regulator inside there, I can't exactly crawl in, turn off all the air, and work from there. Same with these doors. There's no way I can remotely turn off all the air, but they are rather small, so I can just basically open up the doors and fight my way around. There isn't really much. There usually isn't much in the way of loose material. I also don't have much very far to fly once, you know, I open up these areas. Okay, so that should be it in terms of... Well, other than this one room over here, yeah, everything should be vented. So next thing we do, once the O2 is, for all intents and purposes, vented, is to flush all the fuel, which is what this terminal is for. Well, I don't want to open up this door because, as I don't know if you saw in a prior episode, one time this room was pressurized. I opened up the door thinking it wasn't. Stuff blew in through here, hit the reactor, and caused a chain reaction, blowing up the back part of the gecko. So I don't want a repeat of that with this door, although anything that would flies in a straight line and probably hit the ECU. But that's the only thing preventing the reactor from melting down, so I would prefer not to cause that thing to explode. But, so let's just crawl in through the crawl space and start cutting the hull apart. Because we do need to make 500,000 in coin today, well, this shift. Otherwise, we take a loss, and I'd prefer not to take a loss. Especially when there's this much nanocarbon just sitting here. Right, so that chunk is free. I saw it move, I think. Yeah, okay. Ah, heat sink, interesting. Just cut off the airlock. We gotta aim for the cut point. That cut point as well. This one. And this one. This one. And these. That's enough that we can actually get out of the ship. Alright, so this whole panel seems to be just aluminum. So we're just going to send this off to the red maw right, real quick. Grab you. Aim for an open spot in the net and fire.
Deposit accepted.
So the outer plate's nanocarbon, so it should be small enough we can just simply point it in the general direction of the blue maw and fire. The surrounding panel, however, is not. Well, it is made out of nanocarbon, but it's too large just to fire off like that. Yeah, it's too large, so. We use a tether for that one. The front plate goes with it. It's big enough. I feel the need to use 3 tethers. I'm not taking anything with it, am I? No, okay.
Processing valuable objects. Credits awarded.
Alright, so this place has got plenty of O2 just sitting around, so rather than paying for O2, we just cut a hole in the roof. Feed that to the red maw.
Material deposited.
And I can easily get back inside. Don't really need a med kit right now. So I will be grabbing this thing of coolant. We'll be backing it up. Getting it slightly closer. We'll be charging the force push and then firing.
Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
Now that that's out of the way, the middle chunk of the front goes right in. Yes, I know I didn't cut off that cut point, but that part of the keel is also going to the blue maw, so there's no point on separating it out. It's all going. It all ends up in the same place, anyways.
Got about 5 minutes left of this shift, Cutter.
Really?
Don't bite off more than you can chew. Weaver out.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Alright, so I think this one's still attached to the cabin. But let's just get this heat sink off right now. Send that to the net. Yeah, it's nettable, so. Down it goes.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
Same with you. Grab the airlock just for fun.
Salvage deposit accepted. Credit transferred.
Actually, aim with you. I technically just use a tether. You're still connected somewhere.
Salvage secured. Account credit
Okay,
applied.
I see it. Oh, crud. Oopsie. We'll just keep our distance for right now, because apparently we hit the waste disposal unit, and now it's leaking green stuff. Why is it leaking green stuff? Green stuff is usually associated with fuel. Last time I checked, at least for this game, poop is not rocket fuel. Well, it may be. I don't know what these ships run on. Just cut off this section of aluminum. Or not.
Raw material processed. Credits deposited.
Alright, so it looks like it stopped leaking, so what exactly are you still connected to in here? Fine. Seriously? We thought for certain that the middle piece would be what's still connecting it to the nanocarbon. Apparently not. Apparently it's this corner right here. Yep, there we are. Don't know why I'm fighting with small chunks of aluminum. Yeah, it's going in anyway. But apparently I am.
Cutter, we're getting down to the wire. Let's put a bow on this shift.
Yes, Weaver, give me a second. What is keeping this piece connected?
Valuable object processed. Credits deposited.
Apparently that's all the nanocarbon I needed to put in. So looks like there's actually a cut point right here. Let's just burn that with the stinger. Don't quite know what that was connecting to, but it's apparently connecting to something. Alright, so that's one shift in the bag. So I broke a fuel pipe and a waste disposal unit and 171 kilograms of aluminum. But I made 1.3 million in change credits. Goody. And then total daily rent plus interest on the loan is 420,444.2 credits. So kind of them to constantly round up. So we look at equipment. The cutter's now at 79%. The grapple's now at 88%. Everything else is still high in the 90s. So let's just continue salvaging. Is this piece free? Yes, it is. Okay. Makes me wonder if this piece is free. It actually is. Okay, goody. Yeah, the tether broke, so retether that to the side of the mall and have it just go back. Alright, so the flume chute, which apparently isn't the thing that I broke last shift, goes to the barge, or the net as I like to call it, and fire away. There we go. Actually lost sight of it for a second. I don't know if that was just the game's graphics goofing up, or it literally just disappeared. I think that's heading into the mall. If nothing else, it's directly in front of it, so yeah, it's going in. Alright, so this is the scrap that's got to go to the furnace. The other one's got to go to the processor. Just cut these off right here.
Valuable objects processed. Credits awarded.
And in you go. The one that didn't break goes to the other mall. Yeah, close enough. I do like how the processor and the furnace have some kind of gravity or grapple to them. So, like, all you really got to do is get it in between the yellow lines, and whatever it is you're sending in goes in. Just cutting this point right here. And just send that off.
Valuable objects processed.
Yeah, I know I normally use tethers, but let's be honest. If it's light enough, I can just manipulate it with pushing it. Why waste a tether? Okay, so what's still connecting you? Whatever these side computers. These side computers the last time. You good now? Just gonna back away real quick. Or not. Just gonna pull off all the computers. Alright, well, since this is in the way, you're coming with me. Surprised that didn't break the computer. These things are sometimes fragile. Almost surprisingly fragile.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Alright, so now are you going to move? I mean, it's definitely loose, it is moving, but it's still stuck on something. And there it goes. Doesn't have anything on it, does it? It's got a wall terminal. Let's cut the tethers and let's go grab that terminal, I guess. Where did it smack into? Chunk of scrap.
Deposit accepted.
What exactly am I looking at here?
Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
I'm assuming it's either an electric... Well, the computers didn't go up, so I'm guessing it's not a computer, but I'm assuming it's needed for the work order, so it's a good thing I stopped to look for it. Now the rest of this would kindly get in the maw. Quite understand why the generator loses half of its health once it gets yanked out. I mean, I can understand why. It is a high-end electrical power generation device that really, we're just gonna spark everything? You guys shouldn't have power anymore. And your fuses, for crying out loud. I mean, I remove the fuses manually, but every time I do, I get electrocuted, so. I do try to avoid that where I can. Alright, so now that the front section's away, I can just basically pull each one of these out and just shove them down in to the net.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited. Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Oxygen reserves are low. Reminder, asphyxiation can lead to missed salvage quotas.
Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
Welcome to Vendatron 9000.
Oxygen
I'm
level
good on
stabilizing.
tethers, good on thruster fuel.
Thank you for your purchase. Thank you for your purchase. Thank you for your
Buy
purchase.
4 more repair kits
Have a
just
nice
simply
day.
because I'm here and I can.
Salvage secured.
Grab
Credits
the chair. And watch as the chair bounces off. Get this thing of coolant that I almost missed.
Salvage
Alright, so now I
secured.
need 7
Account
storage
credit
units,
applied.
which are basically these things. Which I can just basically grab,
Cutter, there's 5 minutes remaining in this ship.
point down, and just
And while
toss
we're
in.
getting good, we were out.
Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
I don't really bother with the small lights, so I usually just ignore them.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited. Salvage secured. Account credit applied. Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred. Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
Alright, so that's enough storage for the work order, so I technically don't need to worry about the remaining, what, 6 of these? I mean, I'm still going to grab them all, try to get them out of the ship relatively intact, although I don't think they have much health, so...
Salvage deposit accepted.
I mean, I can smack them against anything I want, I don't think they'll break. But they are worth, I wouldn't say a fair amount of coin, but all told, all combined, I think it's, you know, marginally significant.
Salvage secured.
So it's worth making certain that they all hit the net in the same way, whereas stuff like, say, the atmospheric regulator, as I've said before, I'll actually aim. Well, try to.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that, but it looked fun, so... One way to get 2 things out down to the net at once.
Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
Come on.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited. Salvage secured. Account credit applied. Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
Alright, now I believe other than this door console, that should technically be everything out of the cockpit area. Yeah.
Alright, Cutter. Wrap it up. You got about a minute left.
Yes, Weaver, I'm working. So we just gotta cut the neck off, and we have about a minute to do it. Cut here, make a cut here. Cut here. Come on. And here. I think we still have the corners we have to deal with? Yeah. Nope. Well, we still made 1.9 million and change. Lost some nanocarbon, lost some aluminum, lost a fuel pipe, 1 kilogram of glass, and some aluminum structure. Not all that bad. Alright, so some of the gear is now beginning to show some wear and tear, but it's still in the 70s, so we should be good. Let us continue. Alright, now so the cockpit should only be being held on by literally a thread. So let's hit the right key and go down. Come on, go over here. Go over here. And there we are. Wrong button. Turn. Thank you. What is it? Oh look, a spare utility key. One of the most expensive things you can buy from the hab, so I'll pick up any that I can get. I mean, I wanted to tether the thing away from the, let's tether this to the cattle prop. Just to get it away from the remaining bulk of the ship. Toss that chunk of scrap in there.
Material deposited.
And let's aim for the outer edge of the maw and hope it doesn't hit the storm break. And it didn't hit the storm break. Goody. Alright, so that should be going into the maw. Say it should be, it's still right there. Toss this little light down there.
Credits deposited.
Because it's not mine and I don't care for it. Just hit that cut point. these cut points. These cut points. Oh, actually hit the one, that distant one over there. Should make this panel free. And this panel free. And that panel free. And possibly this panel free. Well, this chunk's aluminum, so it goes to the red maw. There you go.
Material deposited.
There you go. You're on your way in. What about this chunk of keel? Yeah, you're just scrap. Alright, so this is the, I would say, the long, oddly shaped chunk of keel, but you know, there is this piece. It's not freestanding. So we just fire it off, and in it goes.
Valuable object processed. Credits awarded.
Alright, so we should probably deal with... I'm not even certain what you would call this room. The flight attendant service area, I guess? I mean, it's a passenger ship, so...
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
It just says cargo. Oh, the comms room. Okay. And yet another room with 100 little things. I hate rooms with hundreds of little things in them. They take forever to clear out. But I need to salvage all the computers
Credits
and every last bit of electrical. Why it stopped counting computer as an electrical component, I don't know, or it does. It does, so
secured.
by salvaging 22 computers, we can actually salvage what is it? 20 units of electrical equipment. Assuming, of course, we don't smack it against the structure of the ship itself, because we're not paying attention. So we whack the at the door.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied. Salvage
Go.
deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
Yes, I know I'm basically throwing everything in the same part of the net. It's because there's a lot of small little components on a gecko, the net can get rather filled if you're not careful. So, much in the same way like the ship, I like filling the net from one direction to the other. Plus, all these small little pieces can fit well together, whereas the larger sections like the nacelles and even the reactor require a larger amount of space in the net to be collected in with.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
I'm saving part of the net for the large things in the back of the ship. Almost said back of the bus or back of the building.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
I mean, some of these ships probably would end up being the sizes of buildings. I doubt in this game, because I don't think the bay is that big. I mean, you do have to plop the entire ship within this space, but if ships in this universe are anything like ships in Elite Dangerous, I have heard people describe some of the larger ships as flying warehouses, so... In Elite Dangerous, not this game. Although they may in this game as well. I'm not all that familiar with the lore. Alright, we're running low on R2 again. So I know there's an entire cargo room filled with O2, but if you guys will remember, it's also still filled with atmosphere. So I mean, I do plan on eventually venting the thing. In fact, I was planning on doing that shortly, but running out of O2 caught up with me. I wanted to clear out the comms room first. There, and then you proceed to bounce off. Alright, it's just a door control. I shouldn't chase after it. It's gonna tick me off, but... You know, the way it hit the side of the net is probably just scrap anyway. Come on. There we go. Oh, look, it actually survived. Now get in the net. Alright, so the comms room is cleared. So that's this section. So this should technically be...
Air pressure level decreasing.
And the ship is now vented. Just gonna grab you. Not gonna care much about the scrap. Of course, now that I think about it, the plan was to actually do that on the floor.
Salvage secured.
Not the
Credits
roof.
deposited.
Alright, so I'm assuming, yeah, there's actually scrap up there. Well, chunks of it. Careful not to whack ourselves in the head with it. Like that. Thankfully, it didn't crack the canopy. Point at the maw and then fire. Excuse me. Alright, okay. That's enough of the small little chunks.
Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred. Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Alright, so I'm guessing that actually is broken. So I guess one way we could get the door open. Or not. Okay. Fair enough. I could work with that. I wonder if the other one's broken. It is. Okay. Let's all the door consoles now shut off once we remove the power. Did I do that? And move point. So let's just pop up all the chairs. Because we're going to cut a hole in the floor. Trying not to hit the chairs. Here.
Time is winding down.
Here.
Dig deep and let's finish strong.
Working on it. Yeah, close enough. Clunk. Whee. Into the mall.
Deposit accepted.
Alright, now we can just grab these chairs, flip around, and fire them into the net.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
Well, if that last chair didn't bounce off the net, would have gone in. So we lost 1 kilogram of aluminum and 53 kilograms of aluminum panel. Everything else we salvaged for 1.1 million. Technically 1.155 million. If we really want to get specific, it's 1.155040 million. But that's just splitting hairs at this point. Okay, so the cutter is now still at 73% because I didn't really use it. But the grappler is at 58. So let's go and repair that real quick. And let's just continue the salvage. Whee! Break! I do like that the speed indicator turns red when you're flying at lethal velocities. So anything faster than 10 milligrams meters a second, and you smack anything, your suit takes damage. But anything less than that, you can actually bump into and theoretically survive, I believe. Yeah, wasn't there a chair over here?
Salvage secured.
There you go.
Account credit applied.
Get in the net. To drag you all the way across. I saw the green somewhere around in here. You stuck under the net? There we go.
Salvage secured. Credits
Things I do
deposited.
for coin. Once again, aim with the regulator, or for the regulator.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Yank off the door controls. So I think that was all the chairs in this area. Right? Yeah, it looks like all the chairs in this area. Pull off the light because why not? We can think of plenty of reasons why not, but still gonna do it anyway.
Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred. Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
And because I still need these computers for a work order, we're going to go to a slightly emptier section of the net and aim for that.
Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred. Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
I'm kind of surprised whatever burn scar I did to cause that didn't damage the computers, but I probably shouldn't be complaining about that. Down you go.
Salvage secured.
You what,
Account
3 more
credit
computers?
applied.
Yank this off. Fire it in. Only glance at it periodically to see if it actually did go in. Grab this, not because I need it, but because I'm clearing out this area. No idea what that is. Same with the thruster fuel. Alright, so that should be everything out of the front third of the ship. Oh look, I didn't actually check in here. There's a free repair kit. Just put you here for right now. Yank you off as well. You're not opening anyway, so off you guys go. Well, my plan is to cut the frame right in this side, so that way I have a nice open area to just yank all these seats out that are now behind me out of, and just drop them into the net as is. Yep.
Salvage deposit accepted. Credit
And after that, it's just basically the engine room. So since I don't feel like flying all the way around the ship, let's cut the floor off in the area that has all the O2, because it's in the section I'm about to cut off. Now I gotta decide, do I want to just keep the free O2 for the spare shifts? Or do I want to just grab it all and or just toss it away?
Raw material processed. Credits deposited.
Since that door isn't opening and the door controls don't work for it, You know, they never really say what you do with the power cell capacitors. I don't think the developers know just yet. Just fire it in the furnace because they generally explode. Like that. And so this still has a bunch of O2 canisters tied to it. Let's actually cut off this wall. Wait until this wall chunk stops, relatively speaking. And now I just gotta remember that that's still got O2 on it. Grab this canister for this shift. Take this crate off. Put you here for right now. I'm gonna have to remove all these computers, aren't I? We only need 3 for the work order. It is 19, right? Yeah, I'm going to assume that that's 19. So if 1 or 2 of these gets damaged and breaks, as long as it doesn't blow up all the others, I should still be fine. Alright, now that they're gone, not what I was hoping to do, but that works, I guess.
You got 5 minutes left in this shift. Knock out that work order before they turn the lights out on you. We wrap.
I'm just making a mess of the frame, and I know it. Are we cut here? Okay, we are cut there. This is the only holdout corner. We should be good there. Good there. Alright, that looks like everything. If we go out of the airlock, while there is still an airlock left to go out of,
Material deposited.
you know what, ideally I should actually cut this in half this way too. Of course, the heat spreader's got to go in the processor. So let's actually see if we can cut around it. we off? No, what are you still holding on to? Alright, so now it's free. Now it and the wall is connected to. Fly into the blue mall. Cut here. Cut here. This goes in the furnace anyway, so we just cut this here. And here. I really hope I didn't hit anything on the important on the inside there. Just slice this off as well. And again, should be it for the frame. So, oh, they exploded. Get off the storm break and get in the mall. Of course, it tilted the rest of the frame.
Deposit accepted.
1 minute left, Cutter.
That maxes out the metal.
Things up. We wrap.
Put a few in there. I'm gonna have more O2 than I got time left, so I shouldn't need a refill. I say that right before I start asphyxiating.
Warning. Your oxygen reserves are dropping below statistically profitable levels.
Object accepted for processing. Credits deposited.
Caution. Tether supplies running low.
Okay, so we only made 601,000 off of that, but we lost one door console because I wasn't paying attention. 272 units of kilograms of aluminum paneling and 13 of structure. I wonder if that's on the heat spreader, which actually netted me 30,000 by itself. I don't remember off the top of my head exactly how much aluminum nets me per kilogram. So I made 106,536 credits off of 88,078 kilograms of aluminum. So that's 12 credits per kilogram. So then if we go down here, times 272 kilograms. So that's 3,000. I lost 3,264 credits worth of aluminum panel. Assuming most, if not all of that, came off of the what was still attached to the heat spreader, it's more profitable to salvage the heat spreader. I lost 5 seats. I'm guessing that laser actually did chop through something important. 8 objects, 1 computer terminal, 2 ladders, 1 titanium structure, and 6 breaker lights. Yeah. Yeah, I really need to aim better. But we made more than the daily fees, so there's that. And the cutter is now at 16%, so let's fix that. And next shift. That almost went badly.
Processing valuable object. Credit.
Okay, so this is one of the chairs we accidentally scrapped. As you can see, it's missing its back, so that's now scrapped. Lucky for us, enough of the computer terminals should have survived for us to still get the
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
work order done.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Alright, so that's all the computer terminals we needed, so I don't need to worry and / care about the rest of these. I'm still going to worry / care about the rest of these because they are worth a non-insignificant amount of coin by themselves. I mean, maybe not individually, but certainly all together they are. The airlock console's not so much, but, eh. Yeah, as you can see, the net's getting rather filled. I still have a large pile of computer terminals left to go, as well as all the seats in the passenger cabin. On top of that, the nacelles, the ECU, the actual reactor, the fuel tanks that happen to still be back there, all that fun stuff.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
Still got to go in the net, and that just electrocuted everything. Okay.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
I'm guessing this is the other half of that seat. This is that hard crate. Just plink you down there.
Salvage deposit accepted.
Send a terminal after it.
Transferred.
Now look, there's actually some O2 here as well. What are you? Oh, just some scrap. Okay. In you go. Okay. Oh wow! I cut all the way through. Man, am I glad that did not pierce the reactor. That would have been problematic. Forget you for now.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited. Salvage secured. Account
Yes,
credit
and
applied.
arguably wasting space, but I really should be compacting these things more. I know. Why am I even caring about a door console? Because I care about every piece of scrap I grab. I mean, there's various different degrees of caring, true. I just realized, I don't remember what I did with the atmospheric console for this cabin. I think I actually yanked it off last shift and just tossed it down by itself. But I don't remember off the top of my head, and that's still a lot of stuff. I was going to say, are there any computer terminals left? And there's quite a few left, actually. Start yanking seats, start firing them off.
Salvage deposit accepted. Credits
Not
transferred.
sure if I actually care where they end up, so just aim for what looks like a clear spot and hope for the best.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
Because all I have left for the work orders is to salvage the reactor itself and 2 of the 3 thrusters. Which I'll work on once I empty out the passenger cabin of everything that's in here. I mean, I don't need to salvage everything that's in here. I mean, the length of this video would probably be preferred if I didn't salvage everything in the in this particular cabin. But each thing costs nets me credits, no matter how small. And while certain amounts, like say the door consoles and the like, and to a certain extent even these chairs, don't net me much, it's still something. Like even this little chunk of aluminum scrap nets me something. Say, where did I put the wall? It's still got all the O2 still attached to it.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
That's not going to the... I say that missed the net completely. Come on. I know I said I don't care about these things, but I still want them to go where I plan on dumping them. Still connected to anything? No, you're not. You're just a chunk of free nanocarbon. Alright, so now that that's out of the way, we can proceed on.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied. Salvage secured. Credits deposited. Salvage secured.
Alright, so I'm running low on O2, and hopefully I'll just get rid of the passenger cabin this shift. So let me grab this unit of O2 instead of one off the wall. Ooh, stuff.
Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
I always get worried when it bounces off, but when it hits the net, or at least where the net should be, it looks like it's clear, but then it goes sideways. I keep thinking it bounces off, but then it ends up, you know, hitting another chunk of the net and catching.
Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
That always does worry me. Right there. There you go.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Oh, look, a data drive. Forgot about this thing completely. Somehow this computer terminal, I think, ended up in the ECU room.
Left of this shift before they turn the lights out on you. Pitter patter. We're out.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
Of course, it's when they don't bounce off the net that, or when they don't catch in the net that you gotta fight with them. There we go. Now, anything else loose I should be worried about while I'm down here? Any... Oh, look, there's that chair. At least I'm assuming that's the chair.
Salvage secured.
Alright, so we should be good.
Applied.
Alright, so is there anything else? Alright. That looks to be actually inside the ECU room. I mean, it's still free-floating, but still inside the ECU room. Down that goes.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
And now I'm left wondering, why am I salvaging all these lights? And the answer is because I can.
Secured. Account credit applied.
You know what? I got 3 minutes left, and I don't want to be dealing with this room next shift, so let's yank off this door control. And start cutting this, the walls and ceiling off. What's that? Oh, it's a fuse. I mean, it looks like I should miss it, so... Get here. Get here. 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 Just keep cutting. And cutting. Cutting. The corners are free yet. Of course, that one should be now. As is that one by the looks of it. That looks all cut apart. This corner still needs to go, as does this corner. There we go. And now, much like the last chunk, we also cut it in half this way.
Time is winding down, Cutter. Dig
I know.
Let's finish strong.
Give me literally a minute. Yeah, I think that's actually loose now. So if we send this chunk off into the red maw.
Your oxygen reserves are low. Note that
I know.
excess carbon dioxide can cause damage to linked equipment.
We should be able to do the same for this one. Just empty out as many tethers as we can. that side's already gone.
Credits deposited.
And we'll get credited for that side next shift. Alright, so we lost 4 lights, and that was it. Everything else we salvaged correctly, and we made 1.1 million on. Alright, so the grapple's pretty much okay. Actually, no, the laser cutter's pretty much okay. The grapple's at 65%, so we'll go ahead and fix that. Everything else is still in the high 90s. Continue the salvage. I'm not really worrying about the upgrades right now on account of the fact that...
Material deposited.
Where am I grappling? As I was saying, I'm not worried about the upgrades right now on account of the fact that what few upgrades I still have left are either the few thousand Lynx points, which I just don't have, or get unlocked at a higher certification level than I currently am at. See, I know there's a fuse around here somewhere. Let's grab that real quick. Alright, so now the main part that's left is the reactor right here. The back portion of the outer hull. And basically the various engine compartments. Oh, and the aft storage. Alright, now the fuel line isn't lit up, so I'm assuming... Oh, look. All the thrusters are no longer attached. Because I don't think they were attached beforehand. Let's just start hitting all these cut points. Gotta be careful lest we chop a thruster in half. And the fact I need to salvage 2 of them for the work order, that's definitely a bad idea. Alright, so that kill chunk is now free. How many cells are on this thing? It's like 4. But now is when we cut off the nacelles. For some reason they don't actually have gas lines. They probably will at higher levels and /or as they develop the game further. But for now they're not connected to gas lines, and for that I am grateful. Random chunk of aluminum paneling right there. That part always worries me because if I cut for too long I hit the coolant pipe. And unlike the gas line, that still has coolant running through it. I was trying to avoid that. Good to know if it explodes right in front of my face, I don't die. In fact, I don't even think it damaged the suit. You know, I'm still working on a zero-death run for all intents and purposes at this file. I prefer not to die right now. Yes, I know I get clones, but it's a matter of pride. we get the nacelles into the net.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
Now, I've always wondered how space-worthy the mackerels and the geckos actually are. I mean,
Salvage
get
deposit
in the
accepted.
net.
Credits transferred.
As I was saying, all space vessels, unless they got some sort of all-powerful super science going on,
Salvage secured.
need reaction control
Credit
thrusters
applied.
in order to actually move. I mean, the main thrusters provide what passes for forward thrust. Well, because I guess technically there is a forward in space, but there's no up or down, left or right. Well, there is relative to your position, but as I was saying, it's all relative, and I don't have enough time to cut off that chunk of aluminum. I mean, I probably do if I wanted to be all crazy about it, but I don't. Is there anything still connecting you? There actually are some cut points up here. Interesting. Yeah, there.
Valuable object processed. Credits awarded.
Yeah, that's the aluminum panel. I probably don't need a tether for that, but I don't see the need of wasting a tether by cutting it, but apparently I tethered it to itself, so wasted a tether regardless. Oh well. Just keep peeling away the hull. It does get worrisome on the back parts because they're closer to the red maw than they are the blue maw, so if you don't angle it correctly, the nanocarbon outer hull chunks hit the storm brake and fall into the wrong maw. So this all looks like nanocarbon.
Valuable object processed. Credits deposited.
Looks like it's going in regardless. Don't know where this aluminum chunk came from, but get in the maw. The correct maw. Gotta remember, there's actually two different maws.
Valuable object. Credits awarded.
And two of each kind of maw, so there's technically 4 maws in the net. I don't know why I used 2 tethers on that thing, but made the most sense in my mind right now, so that's what I did. Just send you off that way. See if I can get this. See if I can get this thruster out,
Object accepted for processing.
which I kind of
Credits
can.
deposited.
Drop you there.
Warning. Oxygen reserves are low.
Salvage secured. Credits
Where'd the wall go? Here.
Oxygen level stabilizing.
That's why I kept this thing around. Random chunk of fuel pipe. process, so the blue maw to you. I feel like I missaid that, but I don't actually know what I wanted to say.
Tether supplies are low.
Truth be told. Oh, look, I'm actually running low on tethers. It's a first, I think. Grab this fuel tank as this chunk is going away.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Alright, so now on the back of every one of the back
We
chunks,
got about 5 minutes left in this shift, Hunter.
there's the thruster cap. Normally you're supposed to just cut it off and fling it into the blue maw, but because it's attached to a whole bunch of outer hull which gets fed to the blue maw anyway, unless I need to cut it off to get to the thruster, I usually just ignore it. You go there. What are you? Oh. You're actually a ship.
Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
Get in with you. And you look like you're actually stuck. Well, the tethers died.
Cutter, looks like you used your last tether. Head on over to the kiosk if you need.
Yeah, I know. You know, I got 3 minutes left of this shift.
Project accepted for processing. Credits deposited. Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
I mean, I grabbed the last thruster, but I usually prefer using a tether to get it where I want to go because they are rather expensive. And as Weaver just said, I'm actually out of tethers because I used them all without
Salvage
realizing.
deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
Now look, there's actually more oxygen in here. The Queen of Unham was surprisingly well equipped with O2.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
What, 1, 2... Oh look, another repair kit. Yeah, there's 3 things of O2 in here. And I can't imagine it'd take more than 1, maybe 2 shifts left to salvage the rest of this. So what I'm going to do is be greedy, collect all of these, and this health pack, and send this chunk of wall just straight to the red maw. And in you go.
Deposit accepted.
Just fling these down somewhere. I say these because I believe there's one out here too. Yep, there's one on this side. Grab this computer, because we technically no longer need it, because we vented the fuel on shift number 1, and this is now shift number, what, 4, 5, 6? I don't know.
Time to start wrapping things up. We wrap.
I guess we could get the utility key back, but I don't think we can.
Credits deposited.
Grab this computer terminal. turn so that way we can actually get it out of the door. Relatively speaking. Come on. Okay, fine. You want to be like that? You know what? I got like 17 seconds left. It can wait until next shift. And I actually managed to, well, I lost 4 lights, 2 kilograms of pipe junction, just shy of 800 kilograms of paneling, and 1 engineering console. Still have no idea where that is. But I made just shy of 2.5 million. And I'm actually pushing the 2-hour mark, so hopefully next shift, otherwise batteries will I'm going to start dying. So the cutter was damaged, so I fixed that. Everything else seems fine. So let's just start the shift and let's go. But even if we're trying to race against the clock, we have to I have to remember. Did I just yank? I think this whole thing actually came out. Interesting. As I was saying, I do have to remember and pay attention that this is still dangerous. The most dangerous part of this vessel is still in the bay. That most dangerous part being the reactor. So I have to work around the reactor, try not to get hit by anything I'm trying to salvage. Get the remaining thruster and chunks of fuel I didn't even see.
Processing valuable object.
In.
Awarded.
Then I also have to deal with the reactor still. That works.
Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
Get you off. As it hits the nacelle and explodes. Thankfully the nacelle's already counted, so all I really lost was the fuel. But it still irks me. Also, I didn't need the fuel for a work order.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Let's get these chunks in.
Valuable object processed. Credits awarded.
That fuel pipe too. It did bounce off the storm brake, but it bounced in the right direction, so I won't complain. Get the last of the outer hull in the blue moss.
Processing valuable object. Credits awarded.
And that almost hit me in the head, and I did not even realize it. Luckily, I have warnings, so since it didn't go off, I was safe. so that should be away. That's pretty much in.
Valuable object processed. Credits deposited.
This thing's pretty much out of the door, so... That works.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
So there was a table in here, but I'm looking in the wrong room. This is the table. We have to salvage it anyway. Well, you know, it's got to go in the furnace anyway, so there's no point fighting to get it out of the door, just to send it off in the same spot that the door is going to go into. We'll, however, have to launch these battery packs into the net. There's more than one, right? Atmospheric regulator. Okay, so that's actually still there. So I need to get this thing out. Come on. There we go. Come on. There we go.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
So now all that's really left is the reactor and the ECU and the last part of the frame. So the reactor is going to get slightly difficult because it's, well, surrounded by this thing. So what I generally like doing is burning off all these aluminum panelings. Use the crosscut saw, but that could risk hitting the reactor. So what I generally do is just burn off all these chunks. I know I'm basically wasting aluminum, but the reactor will pay for, well, whatever I lose. Also, don't want to nick the cooling pipe because that'll start a coolant leak, which causes me untold amount of problems, in addition to it starts setting off the reactor. So we'll get rid of that. Yep, lost some of structure. This side I don't technically need to worry about the pipe, so I can just cut through it. Of course, that didn't really do much, so back to just burning the substructure away. And then this piece.
Salvage destroyed. Please refrain from damaging salvage.
Well, you know what? If there was an easier way to get the reactor out, I would. But you know what? Losing 100 some, 200, 300 some odd kilograms of aluminum is worth it to get the reactor out. Losing half the ship is probably worth it to get the reactor out. But once that's cut free, and I just realized there was a light attached to that I did not pay attention to. Oh well, it's in the red maw now. Okay, why am I doing that? I mean, I was cutting through the ceiling to get access to the ECU, because what we have to do is, this is the front lid to the ECU. That, yeah, that goes into the red maw because it's just aluminum. But then we have to pull each and every one of these individual coolant pods out. because there's no way to turn off the ECU, or at least if there is, it happened in the first shift, much like flushing the fuel, and /or happened before I pulled the power supply, and I'm in trouble because that's the because that was the last one, so now the reactor is going to go, so we have to cut the coolant pipe.
Reactor meltdown detected. Urgent action required.
Tether it to the net, back away. Okay, so the reactor is now fine, but we're running low on O2, so we're just going to sneak in here, grab this. Grab that. Grab this. Grab the light because why not? There are plenty of reasons why not, mostly the fact that I'm running low on time. Fire that off into the net. Watches it bounce away, but not really care. Finish cutting through the ceiling because the only object left on this ship is the ECU. And because it's the only thing keeping the reactor from, well, melting down and exploding, it's always going to be the last thing that I salvage. So we pop the top off, as it were. Now it is also connected to the wall right here. So we gotta burn that away. Now that that's gone, the ECU should just simply lift up. Thusly. And it goes to the net, so we just... Hopefully that's enough space for it. If not, we'll put this here. And that's in. So now all that's left is the last of the frame. And since everything that's left is going into the red maw, we just burn through every last tether that we have.
Cut it. You're out of tethers. Get yourself over to the kiosk to buy some more.
Is that a fuel pipe? No, that's scrap. Okay. I mean, it probably was a pipe of some sort. If not, it's practically in the red maw, so I am not going after it.
Deposit accepted.
Why did it say destroyed aluminum? Weird. Aluminum's supposed to go in the red maw. But that's pretty much it. There's still a chunk or two of random scrap out here, but I'm not going to care about any of that. So let's get back to the hab and end the shift 3 minutes early because the Queen of Yunnan, or the Queen, this ship, which I can no longer pronounce, assuming I was pronouncing correctly to begin with, is now gone. Let's call it a day. And we got 4.9 million in terms of credit. We lost 3 breaker lights, less than 1 kilogram of titanium structure, 2 door consoles that I forgot, 4 doors that I wasn't paying attention to, 46 units of coolant pipe, which was still attached to the frame, 3 lights, 537 kilograms of aluminum structure, 515 kilograms of aluminum paneling, 2 engineering consoles, and 95 kilograms of fuel. But we salvaged all of this. And then we complete the shift. And the next round of daily fees comes in. It's now under 420,000 because we are now under 900 million credits in terms of total debt, because it now stands at 895,141,872. We also have just shy of 2,400 links points to spend on various things. But that's going to be another issue for another day, because I'm going to call it here. Everybody stay safe from the plague, and have a good day.